everybody, welcome back to Row Country. Today I'm bringing you 3 Dollar Tree super easy DIYs which will become functional decor for my farmhouse drop zone. Be sure to stay tuned to the end of the video to see how I pull it all together. Everything you need will be in the description box below, but you do want to pick up one of these 8.5 by 11 dry erase boards. You're actually going to need 2 canvases, one 8 by 11 and one 6 by 8. Paint of your choice. I'm using Waverly's mineral and truffle and paint brushes. You'll need some stickers. I also picked up 4 of these galvanized back picture frames with clips. They're super cute, but pick up what you like and how many you'll need. Now, if you want to do an exact dupe like I do, you'll want some of these poster numbers. You're also going to need a bamboo cutting board. And this is the 6 by 8 stretch canvas. Both canvases are stretch canvases. And you'll need some cup hooks. I picked up mine from Lowe's. They were fairly inexpensive. You can pick up cute little push pins from the Dollar Tree. And here comes DIY number 1. And we are going to start with an 8.5 by 11 stretched canvas. You do need a straight edge to remove this. You could use scissors if you wanted to. We are going to cut all the way around the frame on the outside first of the staples and then the inside. We're wanting the frame, so we're going to remove the canvas and set it aside for another project. Be very careful when doing this, guys, but just remove it as best as you can. Take your time with it. We just want the frame underneath. So now that we have all of the canvas removed, I just show you here that we are going to use this dry erase board underneath of that little frame, and it is larger, so we'll have to cut that down to size. It's on cardboard, super easy. But right now I'm bringing in one of those little frames. I'm going to try my best to mimic the way that that little frame looks, and I'm starting with my mineral chalk paint from Waverly. Now again, paint is preference. I prefer the chalk paint. You might want something like a super high gloss. You might want to use spray paint. However you want to finish your frames to match your decor is what you would want to do. I really like the rustic look of those picture frames, so I wanted to try to mimic that as best as I could. So again, I start out with the mineral, and I'm just showing you the side view. Don't worry, guys, it's going to correct itself pretty soon. But then I come in with the truffle, and the reason I'm showing you this in this manner was so that I could really get it all in frame. But I just take a paintbrush and I really just sort of smear this paint. I don't really try to get good coverage, and I do try to keep certain blotches of that color in certain spots, because as you can see on the frame that I'm trying to mimic, that's how that works too. Okay, so this little dry erase board, it actually can be cut. It is just on cardboard. And so what I'm doing is I'm putting the frame down and I'm marking down in the corners where I'm going to actually cut, so that I know that when I put this little saying that I print off on my Cricut, it says, "I will be grateful for this day." I'm going to put that on this little sign that I'm making. So this is part of the decor that is going to go along with my country farmhouse drop zone, and I love that saying. So I went ahead and used my Cricut, and I'm going to go ahead and weed this out. And like I said, we're going to make a sign out of the dry erase board and the stretched canvas frame that we took off and we painted. So that's how mine turned out. You could do your font in any certain way that you want. You can use any saying that you like. This is just something I've always loved. And so what I do here is just sort of fold the words in half on my transfer sheet so that I can sort of find the middle. It's never perfect, guys, but you can see in those in this shot there are dots there, and that's where the frame ends up going. So I marked those dots so that I knew where to put my wording, and I knew where my frame would be going for this cute little sign. Guys, I just absolutely love how this turned out, and it's a super quick thing here. You just put some hot glue on this frame and you place it back down centered, trim off any excess of this little dry erase board that may be left over from the first time we trimmed it off, and there you go. Voila, as they say. My poor French high school teacher. But yeah, so there you go. This is the first of the three little DIYs that we're doing. Really 2 DIYs and 1 hack. And I'm going to use command strips to hang everything. It is super, super lightweight. So here's what I'm calling a hack, and this is that Dollar Tree Farmhouse frame with that galvanized backing, which is so adorable. You guys, I used my Cricut again. I took the little lever off the top bottom. Oh, and I added numbers. These are Country Farmhouse numbers. I will have the font that I use, but it's really just Magnolia Sky is what it's called. And I used my Cricut to cut that out, but you guys can achieve the same result if you use the poster numbers that you can find at the Dollar Tree. So you just take the little kickstands off the back, and that's because we're going to hang these on the wall. Well, that was quick, right? So here's the actual second DIY. This would be number 3 in everything. And we're going to start with this bamboo cutting board. Now, at first, I really liked the way that that bamboo cutting board looked, but when I got it together with my frames, I realized that I was going to have to paint this. So we're going to give it a really good coat of the Waverly Mineral Chalk Paint, and then while it is wet, we're going to come back with some truffle, and we're going to add some striations in it to give it, again, a wood look, but in a chalk paint finish. Now I'm just going to come back with my paintbrush, the brush that I used to put the mineral on. I did not clean it at all. I just used it, and while everything was still wet, I sort of came down in one direction so that I could blend it but not combine it, if that makes any sense. So now what we're going to do is we're going to be using, again, the frame off of that stretched canvas, which is a 6x8, and we're going to be using these cup hooks, and what I'm making here is a key holder for my drop zone. But you'll notice that the little cup hooks that I got, they're a little too long, and that's why we're going to attach to the back of the cutting board the frame from the 6x8 stretched canvas. So again, be super careful, remove everything, keep the canvas for another project, and just remove it as best as you can. You don't have to remove those staples. They are hard to get out. I sometimes find that I actually hurt myself when I try, but all I'm going to do is take some hot glue, and I'm going to hot glue this frame to the back of the little bamboo cutting board, and then we'll eventually add more hot glue all the way around the inside of it, just to make sure that it's nice and sturdy. You want to take your time with this. You don't have to use clamps. I used some tape at one point just to make sure that everything stayed down, and that's because when we come back later, we're going to be screwing in the cup hooks, and we don't want the frame underneath to separate from the bamboo cutting board. Now on the back, I'm just double checking my measurements, and then I'm going to transfer those same measurements to the front. I think I came down about 2.5 and 5 inches from the actual top of the bamboo cutting board to be sure that I hit the frame that is now on the back side of this board, so that when those cup hooks are screwed in, you know, they hit that frame and are completely inside of that bamboo cutting board, just as you'll see here. Now, take your time with this. You might need to use a pen, you might need to use a tool. Sometimes I've in the past used screwdrivers, whatever you need to do. But just make sure you get those down nice and flush. Now again, I used my Cricut, but you could use stickers from the Dollar Tree to achieve something very similar to this, if not the same. But I did use it to cut out the word keys, and then I also put a little message at the bottom that says drive safe, love you, because if I don't see you as you're walking out the door, I want you to remember, I want you to drive safe and that I love you and please come home. So that's why I did that. And then you'll see later on that I actually come back and I was encouraged to go ahead and try my skills at my Cricut again and go ahead and add to this. But I did paint the sides of this so that it will match. And then also there's all that extra glue. I just did that to make sure that nothing popped off or separated from the back. And guys, it turned out really good. But in our house, we drive a Jeep, we have a Buick, and we drive a Chevy. So there you go, that's what we did. Now this is the space that I began working with. Ignore the door, that needs to be painted, but this is the piece that I have in between the mudroom and another room off of the kitchen. It does have a drawer in it that's fairly deep enough to, you know, handle supplies. And I started by putting up the key holder closest to the door that you walk in, so you can just turn and hang up your keys. And then there's our sign that says, I will be grateful for this day. I then started adding in those little galvanized frames with the clips on them. I figured anybody could put maybe an appointment card or a coupon on it. As they walk out the door, they can grab those things. There's our drop zone calendar. I have a link to that video here in the description box below. I went ahead and added some R's for row country. And again, ignore that door where it needs painted, guys. I'm working on that. But here it is. It is such a functional place in our house now, and I'm so happy that I went ahead and I did this. Hey, I just want to say hey to my returning subscribers. Thank you so much for your continued support. I just love you guys so much. This was 2 Dollar Tree DIYs and 1 hack. Please give me a thumbs up if you liked today's video. Don't forget to share it with friends and family. And if you're new here, please consider subscribing, turn on those notifications, and y'all watch another video. Until next time, bye.